Today, I'm at the Civil War battlefield of Chickamauga, and I'm here to learn about World War I. Learn more about that fascinating connection coming up next. What role did the Salvation Army play in World War I? I know it would be aid and help.
Well, that's what we think of them doing anyway,
Okay.
isn't it? It actually grew out of wanting to be patriotic because, you know, America had gone to war and they wanted to do something to really support the troops.
Okay.
And so when the Army camp was here, they were sort of on the fringe. They had their, what they call their huts, their Salvation Army canteens, or their huts where you could come and get something to eat. And they had a reading room, a library area. They provided stationery. You could write letters home, which was really important in those days because there were no phones. It was hard to let people know what was going on. And so when the Army went to France in 1917, they wanted to go. And they had to clear it with the government, and the government said, well, okay, as long as General Pershing's okay with it. And Pershing was like, well, okay, but you're on your own. I can't really be responsible for a bunch of civilians who want to go and just be nice to the soldiers. So he was not real, you know, supportive at first. But when they got there and he saw that they are doing everything themselves, they were finding buildings they could reuse to set up their canteens. They had their own tents, they brought their own wagons, they had their own trucks for what few mechanized things there were. And he saw what good they were doing because they were having church services, they were having these canteens where the soldiers could come to do things and just get some sort of feel for home. Because homesickness was becoming a big problem. And that happened pretty quick because these boys had never even been out of their county before, a lot of them. So he saw that this was really important for the men's morale. He started giving the Salvation Army some of the supplies they needed for coffee, and he gave them the ingredients they needed because they were making pies. I mean, when they camped in an area, if there was any kind of orchard that had been there, they would utilize the fruit. So they were really just kind of doing whatever would work. And he realized the soldiers were really getting a lot of morale boost out of this. So he starts giving them supplies, and they're making pies for a while. And then they get such a groundswell of men coming to their huts that they don't have enough food. So they start thinking, we need some kind of really quick snack food. And donuts had been around. It was not a real common thing like we think of now. But it was easy to make.
For any folks that are interested, we're getting ready to start about a 10-minute
The ingredients were very simple, and so they started making donuts. And that's really what they got famous for, was their donuts.
Interesting.
And then this is what they used for the cutter. I have a picture of her there with shell casings, 2 shell casings. And she's cutting donuts. There's some that are already done. They were just fried in a big pan. This was a report that they made for a 10-day period where they made 4,270 donuts.
Wow.
And there were no leftovers.
This would be called a TOC, Tactical Operations Center, and we would radio back to what we call higher. So they would, the generals would get a big picture of what's actually going on in the front. And there might be one of these for every division or maybe every brigade or something like that, depending on how many communication specialists you got and stuff like that. And these are just boxes here. This one here is, you can see, was for engineers. This box has got the engineer castle on it and everything else. It's my particular favorite because I was the combat engineer for 25 years. Our communications guys or signalmen will be running the wire out there and running with the guys in the front lines, trying to radio them back what's going on, how many, if we've taken the front trench, how we're stuck here, there, or whatever.
Okay.
And radioing back. But the bad thing is, of course, a lot of that times, artillery rounds are coming in, fraying that wire, they got to rerun wire back to the top.
Yeah, they spend most of their time replacing wire.
Yeah. The artillery rounds are just blowing, and we're wiring back to higher to let them know what's going on.
Okay.
We'd be in one of the front 3 trenches, so we're kind of letting them know what's going on. And a lot of times, too, is what we'd use in the front trenches, that we'd use pigeons. They still use carrying signalmen who carried a crate with 5 or 6 pigeons in it. And the one that got through was called Bona Me. Actually, she's in the History Museum in Washington, D.C. But she got her leg shot off. She was wounded, I think, once or... How many was Bona Me wounded once or twice? Flying that back.
Can't remember.
This was new to the First World War, too. Machine guns. I mean, you're talking about firing 1 round. Maybe you got a Spencer in the Civil War that fires 7 rounds. And this fires anywhere between 550 to 650 rounds a minute. And you got a team of probably a minimum of 4 guys to carry this. You got the gun itself weighs 65 pounds. The tripod underneath is another 65 or so. Then you got to carry ammunition. You got to carry water for the water-cooled machine gun. So you got a minimum of 4 guys, probably 5 or 6 guys, working that 1 gun.
Wow.
Like I said, just in the war, of course, in no man's land, there were big craters from artillery rounds, and they strung wire, right? Barbed wire, like we keep our cows in, everywhere. So the night before an attack or something, you would increase your artillery fire, hoping to take out their front lines, and you'd have your engineers go up front and cut holes in the wire. But if the German machine gunners survived, they just get up in the morning and they go, okay, we know an attack's coming. We just had a heavy artillery barrage. The wire's cut there and right there, and these guys are funneled in to the killing zone.
Yeah.
So it's an awful war. And plus they had to face poison gas, flamethrowers. If you get to see that one, the Lost Battalion, they show them with the flamethrowers and everything. They sent their stormtroop in, which was their German stormtroopers, because they were just killing the first Germans coming up against them.